Are we buzzed?
Yes,
We
yes.
are. Did I turn it on? Yes, I did. Can you hear me? Oh, good. It's nice to be here today. Yeah, it's kind of cold, but it was cold down in Phoenix too, so we're all in the same boat, I guess. So I have some riddles to start out with this morning. I forgot the prizes, so you just have to, if you get them, we'll just know that you won. So since we're getting close to Thanksgiving, you know what the turkey said to his smartphone?
No.
You don't? Google, Google, Google. How about, what do you call a turkey who crosses the road, rolls in the dirt, then crosses back to the side he came from? Anybody?
No.
A dirty double crosser. And then did you hear about the turkey homecoming dance?
No.
Didn't hear about that? It's called the butterball. So really what we're talking about this morning, did anybody win? Oh, I got the prizes at home for a reason, I guess. So we're really talking about this morning, the spiritual practice of gratitude. But I believe that laughter is a spiritual practice also, because it opens our hearts, it opens our minds, and laughter is just so good. And I'm very grateful for it, as I'm sure you are too, right? You're grateful for laughter. Okay. So as we come into this holiday time, I think it's easy to get caught up into all the busyness. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I let some of my spiritual practices go by the wayside when I get all into the stuff of what I need to be doing or think I need to be doing, and I kind of forget what I really need to be doing, you know? So I'm sure some of you can relate to that. So today I'm suggesting that we do like the angels do, and they can fly because they take themselves lightly. So I suggest that we do the same. So I'd like, for myself, I really like to lighten up this year around the holidays, and that my invitation is for you to do the same, because I think we'll enjoy them a lot more. I really do. So no matter what your other spiritual practices are, and in Unity we have prayer, we have meditation, we have affirmations, we have denials, but I'd also invite you to, if you don't already, and I know you're doing some gratitude stuff around here, I saw it on the website, but if you don't do it already, I'd like you to put your focus on gratitude. For, you know, not only coming up to Thanksgiving, but maybe to the end of the year would be a good thing, or beyond. It's a good spiritual practice. So when we use gratitude as a spiritual practice, life works, just works. It's pretty simple. You know, those worries and the anxiety, those things in our life that appear not so good, they just dissipate when we're in gratitude. And we do lighten up and we laugh more because there's more opportunities to laugh, you know, when we've lightened up. We deepen into a consciousness of plenty, of good enoughness. Good enoughness. That's really a word, I think. And our awareness of who we are is truly up-leveled. And we fully realize with a practice of regular practice of gratitude, we fully recognize our connection with the one power and the one presence, God the good. And becoming aware of the presence means that all the good we are and all the good that is all around us shows up as never before. Anybody interested in that? Okay. See, because when gratitude is practiced spiritually, we become magnets of plenty, magnets. So Let's say that together. I'm a magnet for plenty.
I'm a magnet for plenty.
Now look at the person next to you and say, you're a magnet for
You're a
plenty.
magnet for plenty.
Okay, now, now let's say we're magnets for plenty.
We're magnets for plenty.
All right, that's pretty good. Gets it warmer in here too. So do y'all remember the parable of the talents? Okay, most of you remember that. Now in this parable, Jesus tells us that this wealthy man goes away on a long trip and he leaves money to the care of his 3 servants. And so he gives the first servant 5 talents, the second 2 talents, and the third servant 1 talent. And then he goes on this trip, and when he returns, he's gone for kind of a long time. He calls the servants in and he asks them to show him what they did with his money. Well, how they handled it, you know, how they handled really the stewardship of those resources. So the first 2 servants, they tell the master that they had faith in themselves. I'm kind of embellishing this a little bit. They said they had faith in themselves and in what they were given charge of. And they, I'm not quite sure if they said the word grateful, but they were grateful for that the master trusted them so much and gave them this money. So what they did is they kept the money in circulation and they invested it wisely and they maximized the money's potential. And in doing so, they doubled it. And so the master was really pleased with that, very pleased with it. But by contrast, the last servant didn't multiply that single talent he was given. In fact, when the master asked him what he had done with it, you all remember what he did? He hid it, right? Yeah, he was afraid. That was the thing. He was scared and he hid the talent. And you know, the master was not happy about this one. Okay. And he takes even that single talent from this guy and he gives it to the servant who he had given the most talents, saying, for to him who has it shall be given, and it shall increase to him. But he who has not, even that which he has shall be taken away from him. Now, I did take this from Matthew 25:14-29 in the Lamsa translation with a little embellishment. Anyway, so that last thing, I thought, cow, that's kind of mean. You know, that's kind of harsh, punishing. You know, it kind of reminded me of that saying, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That's what it kind of reminded me of. And for some time, I really thought that's what Jesus seemed to be clearly saying. I was a little confused. I wasn't the best Bible student in ministerial school anyway, but I was, but I kind of argued with some of this stuff, you know, and I didn't like this one. I didn't really like this story. And so you're probably saying, well, why would you share this seemingly disempowering story with us this morning, huh? But I'm sharing it because I finally got it. I finally got it after a few years and some help from other ministers. It really is very empowering because what Jesus is really saying, this is what I believe now, in Matthew 25:29, for to him who has the consciousness of plenty, it shall be given, and it shall increase to him. But he who has not the consciousness of plenty, even that which he has shall be taken away from him. So what I really finally realized is it's all about consciousness. All about consciousness, right? So I want you to say that with me. It's all about consciousness.
It's all about consciousness.
I'm gonna say it like you really mean it. It's
all about consciousness.
Yeah, okay. So consciousness means that it's all about consciousness means that we have the ability to move ourselves to a different place in consciousness. At any given moment, we have that ability. Okay, and you all know this, but when we put the regular spiritual practice of gratitude with it, it really even works better, because when we are grateful, when we are saying, thank you, God, thank you, Spirit, whatever your name is, then we are able to leave that lack and that limitation behind us. So, and we only can do it for ourselves. Like you can't do it for me and I can't do it for you. It's an inside job, you know? So each of us can free ourselves of lack and limitation. So the bottom line is, so that we must bring ourselves to the place in mind where there is no misfortune, there's no calamity, there's no accidents, no trouble, no confusion. Can't get into the drama queens anymore, kings. But we need to come to this place in consciousness where there is nothing but plenty, peace, power, harmony, life, truth. And that's not very easy a lot of times. But that's where we need to get. And we get there by daily declaring the truth about ourselves. So by realizing that we always are reflecting our thoughts and our words and our actions into consciousness. So in other words, we have to pay attention, right? To pay attention to what we're thinking, to what we're saying, and what we're doing. So the truth is that in any moment, we are where our consciousness has taken us. And while we might not like it there, the spiritual practice of gratitude can change our consciousness, can change what we don't like into what we do like. It can magnetize our heart's desires, whether they be material or immaterial. We become magnets of God, magnets of good. Now, Ralph Waldo Trine in the book In Tune with the Infinite wrote, when we live in the realization of our oneness with the spirit of infinite plenty, the power that is continually bringing all things into expression, we become magnets to attract to ourselves a continual supply of whatever things we desire. Now, if we insert gratitude into that quote, excuse me, like when we live in the realization and are grateful for the oneness with the power that is only good, we become magnets for whatever we desire. It even gets to be more powerful. Now remember, I'm not talking always about things here, really, not necessarily. I'm talking way beyond just things like new cars. There's nothing wrong with any of that, but I'm talking beyond new cars and houses and that. I'm talking about health and peace and joy and harmonious relationships. Anything really and everything that your heart desires. See, a spiritual practice of gratitude requires us to be grateful in every now moment. Every now moment. Embracing what is in the moment. It requires us to look past any appearance of lack or limitation or whatever. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "This time, like all times, is a very good one, if we but know what to do with it." And a note from the universe from Mike Dooley tells us exactly what to do with it. He says, love your life so greatly and so gratefully, exactly as it is. Yeah. then you become a total magnet for more and more and more of all the good that you could ever love. Pretty great advice. Yeah. Love your life greatly and gratefully. Exactly as it is. Exactly as it is. In other words, what that's telling us is to accepting and embracing everything in the now moment, whether it has warts on it or not. Okay? Embracing that. And what happens then is we come into a higher vibration. And we have that higher vibration of consciousness. It's being in love and grateful for the present is just about the best way to optimize the future. Being in this moment. And another note from the universe says, go ahead, want it all, just learn to be happy before it arrives, or you may not notice what it does. Yeah. See, when we are present and grateful right now, in this moment, when we cease thinking of what we desire in relation to time or space or in the environment or in the relative sense, and begin to think and give thanks for our desires as already in existence in the absolute sense, then and only then will we recognize the blessings. We'll get it. We'll get it. That in God, there is neither beginning nor end. There is only now, right now. And the author Thomas Leonard writes, you can't change the future, although things you do now will affect it. And you cannot change the past, although things you do now will unlock the grip it has on you. So the past and the future are too important to ignore, but the present is much, much bigger. And the present is more interesting even, right? And the present is more powerful. So it is what it is right now in this moment. And the less emphasis we give those other two, the future and the past, the more control and the more gratitude we can have for our reality right now. Seems kind of simple, but I will confess that of all the unity teachings and all the spiritual principles, I find this is the most difficult to stay in the moment. I find this the most difficult. But when I'm able to do it, when I'm able to stay right here in this moment and give thanks for it, thanks right now, and I'm in bliss. It's blissful when I do it. And when I'm able to be grateful for the past and I'm able to let go of it and say thank you for it. And then when I can say thank you again for tomorrow, but then I don't project into it either. And that I can stay here in this moment. So staying centered and happy in the moment is a very important thing, and grateful for what is. And then I've learned a little more too, that giving thanks and embracing the now, I find that we are always guided to do the right thing. Seems that an attitude of gratitude in each moment guides us and opens us and makes us available and aware of the right thing, or what the right thing is in the moment. And the right thing is always that which is for the highest good of all. Not just me, but for all. A grateful heart, doing the right thing in the now moment, magnetizes us for more of God's plenty. So Isaac Newton once said, if two angels were sent down from heaven, one would rule an empire and the other to sweep a street, they would feel no inclination to change employment. And the reason why they wouldn't, because an angel would know and be grateful that no matter what the task was an opportunity to bring light and joy. And it was an opportunity also to expand their life and to deepen their understanding. So I have a true life inspiring example for you. Gratefully doing the right thing in the now moment. And this happened a few years ago in a women's college softball game. And it was, I think, in 2009 or something. And a young woman named Sarah hit the ball. I usually don't do sports analogies because I'm not really good at sports, but she hit the ball and it soared out into the ballpark. And two base runners headed for home, and Sarah rounded the first base. And then she heard the first base coach yelling at her to go back, get back, get back. And I guess she hadn't touched the base. So she turned around and was going to run back to the base to touch it. And her cleats somehow got stuck in the ground and she twisted, but her knee didn't go with her when she twisted. And she dropped to the ground, excruciating pain. And the coach was still on the sidelines, yelling at her to get back to the first base. And so she started crawling and she grabbed the base and she held onto it like a pillow. And she was in so much pain. She was laying there. She was crying. She couldn't move. And she looked up at the coach and she said, "What do I do? What do I do?" And the rules say, I guess, that at least, or the umpires thought this at the time, that if her teammates helped her, if they even touch her, the play would be null and void. So this doesn't sound real fair, but anyway, so, and anyone on her team cannot run the bases for her either. That's against the rules. So as they're trying to figure out what to do, the first baseman, now this would be on the other team, right? Her name was Mallory. She took matters into her own hands, and she asked the umpire if she could help the runner. And the umpire was kind of like, "What? You want to help her? She's on the other team," and maybe like she didn't know that or something, So it's like, she's about to make a triple play. You're gonna help her, really, and. So, but he said that there was nothing in the rules that would prevent that. So he said, "Okay, it's fine, So Mallory looks around the field and she locks eyes with her shortstop. And the shortstop's name is Liz. And Liz intuitively gets the message. She runs over and she and Mallory very carefully pick up Sarah. And they walk her around the bases. And they make sure to dip her a little bit so that she gets, she touches each base, so that her left foot touches each base. And they round. And this is what a little bit from the article that they wrote about them. Mallory and Liz haul Sarah towards second base, moving with awkward sideways steps. They must travel 180 feet. "Don't trip," Mallory tells herself. "Thank you, guys," Sarah says again and again. And then Mallory says, "Well, you hit it over the fence. You deserve this." And so this has to look kind of funny to all the fans who are watching. And Liz is thinking to herself, "I wonder if they're laughing at us, are they?" But the spectators do not laugh. They do not laugh. Rather, they stand up And they're just so happy that this is happening, and they applaud and cheer for these women. And as they come toward the home base, Sarah looks up, and all her teammates are standing up there at home plate, clapping for her. So beyond her gratitude, she feels a twinge of pride, because she has just hit the first home run of her whole career. And what has stands to prove that it would be her last one at bat. So it's that she was so happy and so grateful. And so were the people that helped her. They were so happy and so grateful. So isn't that a heartwarming story? It's just so nice. So let's put our theory to practice to a test. Remember I said that a way to magnetize your plenty is to practice gratitude and to do the right thing in the now moment. Well, obviously Mallory did, right? So how did this work out for her? How did it work out for her? This young first base woman who did the right thing by helping injure Sarah. Did Mallory's team win the game? No. Did they go on to win the championship? No. Did Mallory, get picked up to play pro ball? Nope, none of these things happened. Disappointing, maybe? Maybe not. What happened was the money poured into the college after the game. Poured in. The team got nearly $25,000 in donations, and including one check from a soldier in Iraq. The university matched every dollar. The team got new uniforms, new protective screens for pitching practice, and a luxury bus to take them away to the away game, on the away games. And Mallory Holtman became the recipient of many awards. She's been featured on numerous TV shows. And following the fame received from this act of sportsmanship that resonated across the country, short films were made, billboards were put up across the country, and Mallory, along with Sarah, began the Sportsmanship Defined Foundation. They have a publicist and a booking agent, and corporations pay them to deliver motivational speeches. And Holtman believes she has been given a platform to speak on, and it is her goal for every individual to know that they have the capacity to step up and do the right thing when the situation presents itself. And among the thousands and thousands of letters Mallory received, they all express gratitude and love for what she did for Sarah. Yeah. And how could they not, right? How could they not? This was reported in Sports Illustrated in June of 2009. So what a magnet they all were for good, right? And it rippled out, didn't it? Rippled out also. So Mallory's life was enriched abundantly so, and she gratefully did the right thing in the moment. So I'd like us to breathe together and close our eyes. So take a couple of deep breaths. And let's just move into a few moments of meditation. Feel the gratitude in this room. Taking another deep breath, feel yourself deepen into the awareness of your connection with the one power and one presence. And in this moment, this now moment, make the decision to make gratitude a daily spiritual practice. Make the decision right now in this now moment to love your life greatly and gratefully, exactly as it is. And acknowledge that you are a magnet for good. Give thanks that staying in the now moment, being grateful for what is, enables you to always do the right thing. So silently affirm, I commit to the spiritual practice of gratitude. I commit to the spiritual practice of gratitude. I commit to the spiritual practice of gratitude. I do. Amen.